Hello everyone, my name is Idiotic Synergy, and today we are going to talk about the Foul Blightspawn, one of my favourite ever units in all of Warhammer 40k. It's a Plague Marine with a disgusting flamethrower, and I love it. It was one of the first models I ever painted in when I got back into Warhammer in 8th. I fucking love this model. It is one of my personal favourite ever models. Look at him. Look at him. No, not at the grenade, even though the grenade is rather nice. We need to have appreciation for this little slimy Nurgling. I love him. I love him to bits. It's such a good model, and I love him. Look at him. I just want to pick him up and squeeze his little fat belly. He is one of the best models ever, and I will fight you if you disagree. The Foul Blightspawn's brilliant, and I have nothing but pure nostalgia. And it's one of those models that if you're really not that great at painting, you can still make into, like, quite an interesting model. I really like it. I do. I really like it. When I painted this, way back when, I think I still got the old one. I hope somewhere. I don't know if I still have. But when I used to have this model, I painted this part flesh coloured and had like Nurgle's rot just drip out of it. It was such a horrific looking pipe, and I love this flamer dude so much. I really do. It's such a cool little model. And yeah, he's underrated as shit. He really is. His grenade is the Death Head's grenade, and it's really quite good. And I don't see them at all on the tabletop, and it makes me sad because it's really fucking good. It is a really, really good unit. And it just makes me sad that you don't see it, and you don't see it a lot. And I love the model. The model's just sick. Look at all of... look at him. He's got, like, this he's got this attached to like, this weird, horrific toxin thing. He's got heads everywhere to make his Death Head grenades. Hell, the pipe connects to a skull that's It's such a disgusting weapon, and I love it. Also, I love this guy's mask. Because it's his regular helmet, but it's like some sort of horrific gas mask attached to it. It's like some sort of, what would you call it? Like a modification to the Beaky Boys helmet, and I love the helmet of this model so much. It looks really cool. Also, his armor is cracked and rotten, and it's just a brilliant model. It's just a brilliant model, and it tells a story. As I keep saying, a really good model should tell a story. And also, he's like got horrific tentacles coming out of him. It's disgusting, and he's also wrapped around the pin. I assume that's the pin. It is a disgusting model, and I love it to death. Such a good model, such a brilliant classic model, and the sprue isn't half bad either. It's quite easy to put together, and you can do some fun kit bashing with it. But in all honesty, all you need to look at is the brilliant Nurgling. It's the best thing ever. I love it. I really do. But let's get into the rules, because the rules are really good for this unit. Let me show you. So, the Foul Blightspawn. This unit was... It was something else in 8th edition, and you know what? It still holds up. It still holds up, and I love it. I do love it. Basically, I'm going to have to show you the 8th edition rules for it, because just purely out of nostalgia and love for it, I do love the Foul Blightspawn a lot. And in 8th edition, it was one of my favourite ever units in the entire game. And I kind of miss my old Death Guard army. I do kind of miss it, and if I ever get into Death Guard again, I am having 3 of these like I did in 8th. 3 Foul Blightspawn were just the best thing ever. And anyway, I need to go through the rules for the new 9th edition. So, the Foul Blightspawn is 80 points. Movement 5, weapon skill 3. it doesn't fucking matter when it comes to weapon skill because your main gun is the Plague Sprayer. And granted, you do have the Unholy Death's Head grenade, which is grenade 2d6, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1, with Plague Weapon and Blast. It's quite good at clearing out Tyranids. Very good at clearing out Tyranids. However, with the Plague Sprayer now, it's Assault D6, Strength 7, AP -3, Damage 2. I know I haven't finished the stats, my apologies. But I just wanted to get into the Plague Sprayer because they changed it from 8th. It now has a definite strength. And it does 1 less damage than it used to. However, it's still quite good. Also, it's got a longer range. It used to be range 9 inches, which was fine, because you would just sprint with it with the Foul Blightspawn anyway. And you could make that fucker run if you were lucky. If you rolled a 6, that was it. Everybody was going to fucking die. Anyway, I'll explain all that when I get into the 8th edition rules. So, Strength 4, Toughness 5. That's normal for Death Guard. Everything is Toughness 5 when it comes to Death Guard. Wounds 4, Attacks 4, Leadership 8, and Save of a 3. It has no invulnerable save, but it doesn't need one because it's Death Guard, and he's disgustingly resilient. There's the contagions of Nurgle, and you can upgrade him with all the wonderful deadly pathogens. I like him. I do like him, but in 8th edition, he was a completely different beast. And I love the rules for 9th. 9th edition, he's a solid unit, and you should use him more. You should really consider using this guy more. Also, his abilities of Putrefying Stink. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 3 inches of this model. That unit is not eligible to fight this phase until after all the eligible units from your army have done so. So say you got charged, and then at the start of the fight phase, you can go, nah, you're fighting last, mate. And yeah, I think it's a solid unit. It's a nostalgic unit for me, as I joined Warhammer 40k in, like, right at the start of 8th. Yeah, probably right at the start of 8th, where Death Guard got all their upgrades. And I was watching Kirioth, and I still do. And it was just joyous. Honestly, Death Guard are fucking awesome. But I need to show you its 8th edition rules, because that is some jank. Let me show you. So, this is what I used to play back in the day. Yeah. Oh, this is bringing back memories already. You had Old School Disgustingly Resilient, which was a 5-up Feel No Pain, and I fucking loved it. It was such a janky fucking unit. I had 3 of them, and oh boy, it was just a mess. It was just a mess. I might have pissed off my friends because of my 5-up Feel No Pain saves. Oh fucking hell! It's a feeling you won't ever get back. I miss my Old School Disgustingly Resilient. I really do. I mean, granted, a 5-up Feel No Pain might not seem quite good, but that's until you save like 4 out of 6 hits with a Feel No Pain, or 5 out of 6 damage with a 5-up Feel No Pain, and you just feel godlike. It's a solid fucking unit, and I love it. Basically, the rules are much the same as movement 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, wounds 4, attacks 3, 1 less than normal, leadership 8, and save of 3. But my god, this fucking Plague Sprayer I loved, because it was assault 6, strength 2d6. Now, I love this. It's so much nostalgia is coming back to me. Now, it was possible of you getting 1 shot of a strength 2 hit, but the most glorious thing would happen is 6 shots of a strength 12 flamer. That fucking thing would deck tanks. You would be wounding land raiders on threes. You'd be wounding fucking flyers on threes and twos. It was one of the best anti-flyer units in the entire fucking game, and I miss it. I understand they streamlined it, but my god, this was a glorious fucking weapon. And this was a glorious unit. Still is. Still is. Yes, I'm biased as shit, but my god, this thing was janky. This thing was janky as shit. I mean, yeah, you might have strength 2, but if you wounded, AP -3, damage 3. I remember killing a... I remember killing a Space Marine. It was one of my first few Warhammer games with my Death Guard, and I remember the joy of killing someone's Warlord with a Strength 2 Flamer, but it had 6 hits, and they failed 4 of them. They failed the 4 saves because I managed to wound on 6s 4 times, and it's such a fucking glorious weapon. And it's a plague weapon, meaning you can re-roll wound rolls of 1. Such a beautiful weapon, such a beautiful unit, and it's been streamlined. I don't hate it, but my god, it was fun. I had 3 of these, all with old school disgustingly resilient. These fuckers would just tank everything. My Poxwalkers would be indestructible. They're not like that anymore. Yes, you can put stratagems on them, but back in the day, you had Typhus. You could buff your Poxwalkers to something fierce, and they had and they just had old school disgustingly resilient. Well, on a 5 or a 6, they would get saved. They were brilliant, and I fucking miss that. I miss that a lot, and yeah, it's one of the few things I loved about it. Also, Unholy Death's Head was an ability where once per battle, a foul Blightspawn or another friendly Death Guard character within 3 inches of him can throw an Unholy Death's Head grenade of either a Blight grenade or a Hyper Blight grenade, and when they do so, change that weapon's type to Grenade 2d6. Glorious. Just glorious. There was... dear, so much nostalgia about just having 3 of them. It's like, yeah, by the way, 2d6, enjoy! Fuck you, I win! Just all the joyful memories coming back to me. Really joyful and happy memories. And I still have fun with Warhammer. I still have fun. That's the main thing. I mean, I'm not good at Warhammer, I'm not good at Necromunda. I can't paint for shit, but I do have fun. And, I've made so many good friends over the years. It's a nice nostalgic feeling and a nice happy feeling. Revolting Stench was a lot more wordy, but basically, enemy units that charged this turn and were within 7 inches of this model couldn't fight first. Yeah, that was really fun. Because if you had a bunch of units that were getting charged in here, and overwatching with the Flamer, just beautiful. Beautiful, because overwatching didn't cost a command point. You could just automatically overwatch, and having 3 of these fucking things within... Anyone charging within 9 or 8 inches would just die. Would just get beamed. It was amazing, and that's why I had 3 of them. It wasn't, I mean, granted, strategically and for the meta, it wasn't the best. Because, 9 inches ain't shit. Especially when playing on the old school boards of how big they were. But my god, it was worth it. It was fucking worth it. It was them and the... what's the weird vehicle called? Hang on, I've got to look this up now. There used to be a vehicle. Or still is a vehicle. Fast attack. Mythic Blight Haulers, that's it. I used to have them in Mythic Blight Haulers. One of the best combinations of all time. And they're still solid, and again, they don't get any recognition or love because Mythic Blight Haulers aren't flyers. Which is a goddamn shame. Anyway, I've been Idiotic Synergy. Thank you for letting me ramble at you about how nostalgic this is. And I'll see you next time. Remember, take care and stay safe. Such a solid unit. Beautiful.